Lots of really important conversations you have as president of the United States. Deporting Ilhan Omar back to Somalia is going to be one of them. Trump said that he spoke with the president of Somalia and demanded that he take back Ilhan Omar. Here was the response.
IQ person who I can't even believe is a congressperson, between her and Ilhan Omar and the group. I met the head of Somalia. Did you know that? And I suggested that maybe he'd like to take her back, and he didn't want her. He said, I don't want her. Okay, what else?
The savagery. You know what would be really savage, would really make it stick, is a DOJ investigation into Ilhan Omar and her many crimes that are of public record. And think about the things we don't know about Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar's penthouse to the outhouse. Poor Ilhan now claims her erstwhile millionaire husband made little as $200 last year. Remember, Ilhan Omar claimed to be worth $30 million. Her and her husband fly around to galas and wear tuxedos and live a fancy, lavish lifestyle. Her daughter doesn't work. They attend events in Washington, D.C. She claimed she's worth $30 million. And then out of the nowhere, Ilhan Omar says she's broke, and none of it makes any sense. All of it is extremely creepy. All of it is extremely shady. Scandal scared Ilhan Omar and her husband have gone from the penthouse to the poorhouse. Husband of Ilhan Omar's squad firebrand, who once valued his venture capital firm and wine empire up to $30 million, now claims to be pocketing as little as $200 a year. Embattled socialists claim hubby Tim Mynett made no income last year as his main business. Rose Lake Capital, according to her new financial disclosure reports. The only money that Mynett, whose nearly 2 decades experience in D.C., earned last year was a meager $200 to $1,000 from his defunct California-based winery business, which sold bottles like the devil's lie. Omar claimed the total value of the couple's assets was $20,000 to $125,000, and her credit card student loan debt hovered between $30,000 to $100,000, putting their net worth at a negative $95,000. Head-scratching financial disclosure comes as the couple reported sudden ballooning of wealth between 5 to 30 million, sparking intense public scrutiny, spurred a congressional investigation into Ilhan Omar's finances. In response, the Somalia-born filed an amended 2024 financial disclosure, listing the value of Mynett's ownership stakes in the business as a zero. She said it was a discrepancy. Okay, so there's one of two things happening here. Both of them are illegal because you can't lie to Congress. And these disclosure forms are incredibly legally binding, right? The reason why is because you got to make sure that the only way to really make sure that you're not profiting off of your office. And so when Ilhan Omar submitted a disclosure form saying she was worth $30 million, she was either lying then or she's lying now. Here's this disclosure form, the new one, that says that she's worth $1,000 to $200. So they made no income, like they made no dollars. What's happening here? You would file a disclosure form like this in the year 2024 in order to hide money if you were money laundering. That's what you would do. So let's say that you had a bunch of illegitimate money coming in. You need legitimate businesses to launder that money through. And so Ilhan Omar making $30 million, well, she could just launder that money if she's getting that from Somali fraud operations, fake daycares, or whatever. She could launder that money through her husband's BS businesses right here. And she could say that her husband's businesses are worth all this money, right? And it's relatively subjective, but a good CPA or accountant would be able to give you the equations that would be admissible to the IRS as to what your businesses are actually worth. Nonetheless, a lot of this stuff is fungible. And so Ilhan Omar would be able to launder untold millions through her husband's businesses if she was getting them in, like, let's just say, suitcases under the table like they find regularly going through the Minneapolis airport. Bags of cash, suitcases full of cash going back to Somalia. They find that all the time, Minneapolis airport. They had to make a rule to stop that from happening. They were traveling back, Somalis going back to Somalia to stash the cash. They literally use Somalia as their like little mafia piggy bank. As a matter of fact. So Ilhan Omar, let's just say, for use of an example, gets $30 million because it was embezzled from the American taxpayers. She claims she's worth $30 million because of her husband's businesses. Those businesses are worth nothing because they're fake. They literally are fake. And then she gets called out on it, and she's going to have to come up with that money. They're going to have to justify the value of her husband's businesses. Now, we went viral by explaining that Ilhan Omar's winery is fake and everything that she does is fake and that none of these businesses have any value at all. And so what happens now? Well, they amend it to say, actually, the businesses are worth nothing. Where'd the money go? It's been shipped out of the country. That's where it went. It's been hidden. It's been stuffed in every mattress in Somalia, and there aren't that many. It's been flown back to Somalia in giant suitcases. The money's gone. So as soon as the money's gone, there's no reason to lie on the forms anymore. So you can just say what was true the whole time, that Ilhan Omar's husband's businesses are bankrupt, which is what you can see here in the new income statements. Ooh, man. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Omar reported that her and Minet's total assets are actually not even worth their total debt. The report filed comes after the socialist was forced to dramatically revise her disclosures that appeared to show $5 to $30 million in asset. Omar insisted she was not a multimillionaire. She blamed an accounting error. Have you ever become a multimillionaire through an accounting error? Ilhan Omar's financial household is under fire. Now people are asking all the right questions. What's going on next? Expel her from the house, then deport her. She filed a new disclosure showing the changes in her net worth. Just a few months ago, Congresswoman sparked an investigation, showed that she and her husband had assets between $6 to $30 million. Latest report shows her family has no money, and all of the stakes that they have in their business is worth nothing. And her savings and retirement account are fairly modest because they've laundered the money. Mark my words, what's going to happen is Ilhan Omar is going to disappear. As soon as she gets kicked out of Congress or investigated or criminally charged, she's going to flee the country and she's going to head back to Somalia like a cockroach. She's going to scurry back to Somalia and hide, in the hole in Somalia, and no one will be able to get her. I'm telling you, that's where they're stashing their cash. They have it offshored somewhere. Something tells me this isn't right when Ilhan Omar's husband's finances. Look at this, $30 million income reported, now $200. $200. You can go to Chick-fil-A and spend $200. So that's right. They're not worth the $200, right? Jeez. Look at this. This is very interesting. Look at this. That's fascinating. So you can see just one little funny detail here. He's wearing her congressional pin. So you get this little pin that says you're a member of Congress. It gets you into all these little security meetings. He's wearing her pin. This dude's running the whole operation. It's pretty obvious. So it's worth reading from 2020. Ilhan Omar did marry her brother. Dude, we've asked the questions. We were at the White House. We asked JD Vance. JD Vance said, yes, Ilhan Omar did commit immigration fraud. We have her dead to rights on that. Let's get some charges, please. I mean, the whole country. You want to get the president's approval rating back up. Let's get Ilhan Omar properly investigated.
It's the United States of America. And I talked to, so we actually think that Ilhan Omar definitely committed immigration fraud against the United States of America. And I talked to Stephen Miller about this actually recently. We're trying to look at what the remedies are. That's the thing that we're trying to figure out is what are the legal remedies now that we know that she's committed immigration fraud? How do you go after her? How do you investigate her? How do you actually do the thing? How do you build the case necessary to get some justice for the American people?
Do it. We're begging you. Do it. Please. It's a great question. Donald Trump asks here, Ilhan Omar's country of Somalia is plagued by a lack of central government control, persistent poverty, hunger, resurgent terrorism, piracy, decades of civil war, corruption, inbreeding, and pervasive violence. 70% of the population lives in extreme poverty, widespread food insecurity. Somalia is ranked the worst and most corrupt countries for dysfunction. After all this, Ilhan Omar tells us how to run America? Wasn't she the one that married her brother to gain citizenship? What scum we have in our country telling us what to do and how to do it. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Maybe the greatest thank you for your attention to this matter ever. So I don't, yeah, I'm telling you, this all needs to end. Somalis have always been the fabric of this nation.
Not only are we not going anywhere, we are not going to allow anybody to make us feel less Minnesotan or less American.
The Trump administration has an incredible opportunity to just make an example here. Make an example. Make an example. Make the rhetoric real. Like, prove that that type of entitlement and passive aggressive attacks on what it is to be an American won't stand. And it'll be the most popular thing that the administration's done. Please, I'm begging you. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe.